I'm not going to tell you about a get rich quick scheme. I'm not going to tell you about a fast, quick way to make money in this video. I'm going to share exactly how you build something long-term and sustainable. It's not fun, but it has made me and my clients tens and tens of millions of dollars. Every single client that I have helped scale past like 8 figures, past 7 figures, practically all do this thing. They all understand this one concept, and it seems like everyone in business has forgotten about this. And I just see so many people who run businesses screw this up, and practically everyone who's at 8 figures understands this. So I'm going to explain in this video. I'm going to walk through the exact principles of it. And what it really comes down to is when you're running a business, you don't want your business to be reliant on a mean. Most people's businesses are reliant on a tactic, on a mean, on a potential like trend, right? And they can never actually grow it long-term and sustainably. Like I know this because I've worked with, like, don't take it from me. Like I've worked with dozens and dozens of clients in many different industries, and a lot of them have scaled past 8 figures. In fact, 5 of them have scaled past 8 figures. Many others have scaled past 7 figures. And when I tell you like the difference between a client who scales past 8 figures and the conversations that I have with them compared to a client who's like stuck below 7 figures, it is like sizably different. It's a completely different conversation. And it really comes down to long-term and short-term thinking. And I know you've heard that before. I know you've heard that term and you're like, okay, another one of these guys like talking about this. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about though the actual way to think long-term with a business and how to actually build something into like an 8-figure company, right? Look, I'm like 21 years old. I haven't been in the game of business for decades. However, I've seen a lot of clients who have scaled past 8 figures doing this exact thing. I've worked with the clients, I've worked with the businesses that do 10 million, 20 million a year. And this is what they do. They all do this. It's like so black and white at this point that if you do this, you're successful. If you don't, then you're not. So let me go to the whiteboard here. So first of all, what it really comes down to is, first of all, the way that an 8-figure business owner approaches like their business starts off differently. So what most people do is they'll launch like an advertising campaign. So let me just draw like a box to like show you like say an advertising campaign or any sort of marketing. And what they'll do is they'll look at obviously what like one thing. So it's going to be return on ad spend, which is, or like just return on their marketing, right? So ROAS, that's all they look at, right? They just look at same day return on ad spend, and they're trying to make money back the same day. Now, every single one of these clients I'm talking about who are 8 figures have a different sort of edge. They don't think that same way. What they think about and how they break down marketing is, it's not because they have a better product. It's not because they have an insane sales team. I mean, a lot of them do have that too, but they don't have a better product. They don't have a better sales funnel. They don't have a better ads. Like it's just solely the way that paradigm works, the way they shift, and the way they think about running a business. So here's what it really comes down to. So they're also running, say, an advertising campaign. And how they think about it is they first look at their numbers. So like, for example, CPA. So CPA is how much does it cost you to acquire a customer, okay? So say, for example, Starbucks, I think they say something like in the hundreds of dollars to acquire a Starbucks coffee user. Think about that. Like someone who spends $5, they pay like $100 to acquire their customer. I'll explain why in a moment. But CPA is simply how much does it cost to get a single customer. That simple. And then what you also have on top of that is you have lifetime value. Now, you've probably heard of all these terms. Like if you're watching this video, then you're probably somewhat of an advanced marketer. You understand what all of this means. But here's how to actually like implement this at a high level. So what most people do is they think in terms of like a box, like I just said. They think in terms of how do I get a same day return on ad spend? Whereas what someone who is like actually builds an 8-figure company does is they understand the concept of like first of all, a funnel, but a way in like truly how lifetime value works. So what will happen is say, for example, in fact, let me tell you about one of my clients. One of my clients, he's done over 25 million with his business. And, we worked with him for a long time. And this is the biggest thing I took away from him. So here's how it would work. So he would run like a webinar, okay? And he would run it to it was about 1.5K, his price point. So on the webinar, he would sell to people on the webinar, and he would sell, it was like $1.5 grand, okay? The thing is, right, on the webinar, he would spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on advertising every single week to get people on that webinar, okay? But he didn't make any money on it. In fact, to acquire customers on this product, he lost money. Out of say $200,000 he spent, a lot of the time he'd lose 50 grand or like close to that. Maybe it depends on week to week, but he would lose money acquiring a 1.5K customer. And you might think why would you lose money you just lost money? You're not profitable. However, what he had in what you could say the back end of his funnel was a way to upsell people. So an upsell is if you offer someone one thing, they're going to buy something else, right? A lot of the time. It's 65% easier to sell to an existing customer. It's 65% easier. If you get a customer to buy from you, it's 65% more likely they're going to buy from you again. So what he would then do is he would have a 7.5K offer in the back end. So after the people who bought the 1.5K offer, he would have a 7.5K offer, right? And I think I can't remember how much, but I think it was about 40% of the people who bought this offer would go and buy the 7.5K, right? And because of that, because he was able to ascend 40% of the people from 1.5K to 7.5K, he made millions of dollars off of this product in the back end. I mean, he raked in over $2 million a month, pretty consistently. And that was all profitably from this product. And this is what people don't understand about advertising. What they don't understand is that they think in terms of you're just going to put up a product like the 1.5K product and you can just make money, right? But it is so much harder just because of margin-wise to make money off of a 1.5K offer compared to having a 7.5K offer in the back end and upselling people on that. It is so much harder because of margin and because of costs of running a business. I mean, if you factor everything in, when you have advertising and you have labor, making money on a 1.5K offer leaves you with little to no profit at the end after all the expenses, little to no profit. Say for the 1.5K offer, it may cost you literally 1.5K in CPA to acquire that 1.5K customer. The CPA to acquire 1.5K customer can be 1.5K. It could even be $2,000. That's not uncommon. But most people would freak out at that. And people in his industry did. He was in an industry that was extremely noisy. There was so much competition. There were so many people competing to sell the same product, and they were all in the same industry. And to be honest with you, he didn't necessarily have a better product than his competitors. But what he did have was the willingness and the ability to not need to make money today. Just imagine, think about this in a frame, right? Think about this. Imagine you don't need to make money today. How much more money you can make. Imagine you can just delay the ask to make money by, 1, 2, 3, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, a year. The amount of money you can make is substantially higher than trying to get an instant return on advertising. And if you're a marketer and you're watching this, or you're a business owner watching this, you have to think of your business as a system. And this is what no one understands. They just look at it as, how much am I paying to acquire a customer? And some people are so stupid with this. To acquire a 1.5K customer, they won't even spend 1.5K to do that because they don't understand the system. They don't understand lifetime value. And how that if you have a customer, right? So for that client who spent 1.5K, but then half of them spend another 7.5K. I'm not sure the math on that, but that makes your lifetime value upwards of 6, 7, 8 grand, like after that, because he had other products too that he would sell them on. Suddenly, he goes from trying to make a same day ROAS on the 1.5K offer, where he would make maybe at the very best $500 after everything, like in profit. He would maybe make some money, but very little. Maybe he would get like maybe a 2x ROAS if he tried to make money on the 1.5K products. But instead he waited and he delayed the ask, or not delayed the ask, but delayed the return on ad spend. He just extended his timeline over here to the 7.5K, and suddenly, off his campaigns, he was getting a 5x return, even higher, just because he could upsell people and sell people on a higher ticket product, right? And obviously this is about having a good product. You have to have a decent product in order to do that. It's not going to work otherwise. But let me just show you this in like a service business example. Like if you're running like an agency, or if you're running anything like that, this is how you can think about it. So for example, and I know so many agency owners who are stupid about this. They don't understand how this works. They don't understand this concept. Because what they do, right, is say they sell a $3,000 a month service. So they sell a $3,000 a month service, right? They charge their clients $3K a month on average. So what happens a lot of the time is from the marketing, say it costs them, $4 grand to acquire a customer. And then what happens is they freak out and they turn off ads, right? What they don't understand is that $4K to acquire a customer, if they can keep this client on for just 10 months, even just 10 months, which if you're running a legitimate service business, you should be able to keep your clients for 10 months, then he would do 30 grand. All of a sudden, he's gone from doing 3K, losing 1K to acquire the client, and then making 30K back off of $4,000. That's the difference. So the reason why I say this is that everyone who wins in this game, everyone who crushes the competition, and this is the biggest thing your competition will be scared of if you run a business, is being willing to just spend more money to acquire a customer. Like if you can just outspend, literally one of the greatest, all the greatest marketers in the world, like Russell Brunson, all of them, Dan Kennedy, they all say this, is that if you can spend more to acquire a customer, that's how you win. Because you can outspend competitors, and that's their biggest fear, is everyone's trying to make money today. They're all trying to make money. They need to make money today just to survive as a business. But if you can get to a point where you can extend the time horizon and think, instead of just thinking in terms of how much is my price point, but you can think, how much is my lifetime value, then you win. You can outspend all your competitors. If you run a 3K a month business, like you run like a 3K a month service, and you know it costs you 4K to acquire a customer, but you know then that they stay on for 10 months, boom, you're making 30 grand from that client. You're okay spending 4 grand to acquire that client if you're smart, if you know how marketing works. You're okay with doing that. But none of your competitors are doing that. You can simply outcompete every single one of your competitors, outcompete everyone in your market simply by being willing to wait a little longer to make money and outspending your competitors. So let's break that down just so I clarify what that actually means and what I mean by waiting longer. So waiting longer is simply, there's so many ways to do it. Like if you run like a funnel and you have some sort of information product, or you're selling a coaching, then it's simply being willing to lose money on the front end, on your front end product, like my client did, who had a 1.5K product, being willing to lose money on that, which is totally normal. That's what everyone does. They all lose money on the front end. Any legitimate business I know that got to 8 figures plus does that. They all lose money on their front end product. But then in their back end product, the product behind that, they make money, like the 7.5K offer my client had. So this really comes down to two things with your advertising. It comes down to being willing to delay the ask. So delay the ask. If you can just do that for not even that long. I'm talking, you can upsell clients, you can cross-sell, you can add all these different things. You can likely, if a client's buying from you or customers buying from you, they're going to want more from you. Okay, so you just offer more, but you're not going to get a same day return on an ad spend doing that. But you are going to make a whole lot more money from reselling to your existing customers ongoingly. Or if you're selling a service, you might lose money on the first month of the client, but every single other agency or every single other business I know that has clients, they don't scale because they're so scared of paying money to acquire a client. I mean, some people even pay like $500 to acquire a free gig client. It's stupid. Because they don't understand that longevity always wins. Lifetime value always wins. If you have a client who can just stay on for 10 months, you win. You outcompete everyone. Because then your lifetime value is 30K and you are happy spending 4K when no one is happy spending even close to that. So then what you have is the balls to actually go out there and outspend every single one of your competitors, so everyone in the market sees you instead of your competitors and goes to you. That is it. That's how you win this game. And I'm so tired of seeing so many businesses in this space just think in terms of like same day returns, in terms of like same day return on ad spend, or same day return on marketing. When if you just think in this way, if you just think in terms of lifetime value and how much it costs me to acquire the customer, you win. Because you're thinking longer term than everyone else. And that's where millions, decade millions is made. When you know your lifetime value and you know how much it costs to acquire a customer and you're willing to wait for that point for them to be at that lifetime value, the 30K, for example. That, again, what that allows you to do then is you can have the balls, you can have the guts to have an edge. And by an edge, I mean spend more than your competitors. Every single marketer who won spent more than their competitors, or spent a lot more than their competition, because they could just outcompete them, just because they could get in front of more people. That's it. That's how you win this game. And I've seen it with my clients who scaled to tens of millions of dollars. They just understand this. And they understand that, okay, I'm prepared to lose money up front, but obviously with my lifetime value and with my back end, I'm going to make millions and millions of dollars. And that's how you win it. That's if you just understand this simple concept I spoke about in this video, you can outcompete anyone. As a worse marketer, with a worse product, without a crazy funnel, like that's it. Just extending the time horizon of thinking. So how do you actually do that? Well, first of all, you have to look at estimates at the beginning. If you're just starting your business or you're not that long into it, you're obviously not going to know your lifetime value. But you build that over time. You build that by tracking your customer metrics. And this is something that also no one does, is they don't track how long does an average client stay on. They don't track how long does an average customer spend with me. And because they don't track it, they can never know this. And because they never know this, they can never outcompete their competition because they're just trying to make money back instantly. Whereas again, if you just know how much your clients spend with you across the lifetime, you win. And that's all just about tracking data. Like it literally comes down to that. Knowing how much you spend to acquire a client and knowing after a long time of running your business or a decent amount of time, how long a client stays on average. That's why, again, a lot of people don't talk about this, but the advantage you have in business, and this is why you should stick with the same business for as long as possible. Pick a vehicle right now. If you haven't picked a business, pick a vehicle right now that you're going to stick with for the next 5 to 10 years at least. Because when you do that, you can then, this is leverage. This is how you win. Like if you know your lifetime value, that is how you win. Because you then know your numbers and no one else knows their numbers. No one else in your competition. I guarantee you only the top 0.5% are doing that. So you will be instantly in the top 0.5% simply by knowing this, and you win. So make sure to think in this lens whenever you're, building a business, whenever you're running advertising, whenever you're thinking about trying to make money today and being very scarce-minded thinking, like you're trying to make money instantly back, realize that you're bottlenecking yourself and realizing that you're trying to make a few $1,000s, but you're missing out on millions of dollars just because you can't adopt that mindset. And then because of that, like you hold yourself back. Also remember, it's about time in the game. Time in the game is going to allow you to think about this further. You're probably not going to walk away from this video and instantly have this mindset, but the longer you run your business, the longer you'll be able to think about this. And that's how you win. I mean, I'm competing, I'm running a service right now, and I'm able to outspend majority of my competitors simply because I know even though my business isn't that old, that my clients are staying on for 12 months, at least a year typically. So I can just outspend everyone else because of that sole reason. And even though I believe I have a better product and I'm much better marketer than I used to be, even when I wasn't a good marketer, I still understood this, and I was able to scale loads of my clients to millions of dollars a month simply by following this. So if you enjoyed this video, then keep an eye out for new ones, and I'll see you in the next video.